Perfect. So looks like the recording has started, Chinmay. So first of
Right.
all,
So,
thank you so much for joining in this, the conversation that I try to have with people, Chinmay. To let the audience know about you before you speak about yourself, I want to give you a brief introduction about you. So I think I know Chinmay since 2016, when initially he came in the same undergraduate college as I was in. And he looked to me a very decent, nice, smart boy, as he still is. And then eventually, I think he moved into the the actual, the section wherein we have, our brave hearts of India. And then eventually he moved to the education department. So there's a lot to I want to hear from Chinmay. I think this is the first time that I'll be hearing a lot from Chinmay. And I did not kind of allow him to speak initially while we were not recording, because there's a lot I would want to hear for the first time while being on call. So yeah, there's a lot to hear from you. So before we get into details of Chinmay, about the shift for the from your engineering, I just wanted to understand first about like a brief introduction from your side, and then we can delve into the details.
right. So, first of all, Bhaiya, it's all my privilege to honestly be here and share my thoughts with your audience. Because, as you said, we know each other for, I think, 9 years now, right from 2016. And and of course, I mean, Shubham Bhaiya, as we used to call him Safaya in the college, because everyone knows how common name a Shubham is, like how common a name Shubham is. But apart from that, it was good that we always kept in touch. And so it's absolutely my privilege to be on I would say, podcast, which is hosted by my senior. So I think nothing better than that to actually come and share my views. And if I have to introduce myself, then I would say that I won't say ki it's like completely something very different as Bhaiya was actually saying, but yeah, when I was in my third year, so I thought of giving exams for the defense services. So I opted for the CDS exam, and thereafter I cleared. Of course, we'll talk in detail about it, but I cleared my exam and I went to the OTA, which is Officers Training Academy in Chennai. And later I went to AFA, which is the Air Force Academy. And but due to some medical reasons, I could not continue further. So I opted out, and then now I'm into teaching. So I teach defense aspirants. My main strength is maths. So I take maths classes for all the competitive exams, mainly defense exams, as I told, and then other Olympiads and also. Now I'm completely into teaching, but before that I was into the defense services. And as Bhaiya said, before that I did my graduation from the Vivekanand College, which is Mumbai University. I was a computer graduate, so I worked for some time in the corporates, but I think by now it must be clear that how passionate I am about the corporate industry. So I left it within, uh, I think it was just 6 7 months, and I just left it. I thought that this is about it, and then I switched to this career option.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chinmay. And I was actually waiting for Chinmay to say something about himself, which he didn't in detail. So I was just seeing that how down to earth or ground to earth he is. So I just have one liner or two liner about Chinmay. So again, as he already kind of mentioned, he's an ex-OTA, but his All India rank was 50. And then as an ex-IAF, his All India rank was 101. He has cleared the CDS exam 4 times, and the AFCAT another exam, which again I think I'll talk about in detail 5 times. And he's also been an IMO, which is International Math Olympiad gold medalist. I've tried giving that. I've been a part of it, but definitely not to that level. But yeah, this is some brief introduction from my side about Chinmay. I was waiting for what Chinmay will tell about himself. So thank you so much, Chinmay. Now I think the first question that arises to my mind, Chinmay, is that uh, a lot of a lot of people like you and me, we go into the engineering as you know. I think one of the either engineering or doctor is one of the basic common options in India that we pursue and end up pursuing. So I'm not going to ask about like why did you choose engineering and why engineering. So let's keep it aside. Like that's how everybody's journey starts. So now my first question arises, why did you move from engineering after you did your engineering? I think you were computer science graduate, as you mentioned, and then you worked in the corporate. Why did you move into IAF or like defense services examination? Why did you give the examination, and what motivated you to get yourself into this services?
Right. So, first of all, my story was not like the typical story where people are motivated from sixth standard or seventh standard to become a pilot and all. So my story was not like that. It was a little late. As I mentioned, in my third year, I thought about giving the exam, and the reason was I was in FO school Pune. So I have a completely civilian background, but I was lucky enough that I got admission in FO school Pune, and I'd seen the FO's officers in all the functions. So in our school, be it any function, a cultural fest or sports day, whatever it is, the chief guest were always the Air Force officers. I mean, it might be the AOC or the Air Commodore Group Captain, so all the high ranked officers. So that was one where I got to know something about the officers, but I never thought of it because, as you mentioned, engineering and medical are the two options which we generally think of. And not to put it like that, but I was also passionate about engineering, like till my second year, I would say first or second year, till I actually went into it. So the thing is, when I got to know about the exam, it was again in my second or third year. I thought that I should at least try, like देने में क्या जाता है. So that was the only kind of thought I had when I actually filled the form, and I just thought that okay, ठीक है. I saw the syllabus. The syllabus was okay. It was GS, English, and Maths. So I was not good enough in GS. So I thought कि ठीक है, थोड़ा सा पढ़ लेंगे. And then I attempted the exam. Then after the exam, what actually kept me going was the second stage of the exam, which was the SSB. So the Services Selection Board, which is conducted for all the officer entries of the armed forces. And it's a very, I would say it's a very holistic approach to actually judge a person, or as they say, assess a person, not judge. So I actually the SSB process was such that it kept me going. Once you, and it is so I would say contagious that once you don't clear it, you want to give it more. That is how the actually the exam is designed. So it's basically a personality test which is conducted over a span of 5 days, and they test your psychology. They test your I mean, it works on the principle of mansa vacha karmana. So what you talk, what you think, so basically what you think, what you talk, and what you do, your actions. So all the three things are tested very they scrutinize you like anything. So that process was something where you get to know a lot about yourself as well, because since it's not a skill or knowledge based test, it's just a personality test. So someone with 10 years of preparation might not clear it, and someone with zero preparation might also be able to clear it. That is the uncertainty which that test has. So only the people who are conducting it, they know what they are doing. We can never know what right or wrong we are doing. That's kind of the exam it is. So, and when I started preparing for SSB, for the SSB interview per se, so I got to know a lot about the forces. And the general civilian tendency is that forces is all about war and fighting, or maybe when you're not fighting, then you're training for a war. So that's the only thing which people know about it. But there's a lot more, the technical side of it, then you would say the administrative part of it. And it actually it was very interesting because as a civilian, I had very different ideas of I would say the army, air force, or the navy. So even though I was in the school, but of course in the school you can just you are just sitting, and maybe someone comes, gives a speech, and that's about it. That's the exposure you have. It's not like you go and personally interact with the officers or something. And so the kind of I would say career which armed forces offer, you have to be a person who has to motivate. maybe let's say 20, 30 people from day one as an officer, and it's not motivate them to maybe work 1 hour extra. But if the situation is worse, then you might have to motivate them to actually go and fight a war. So that is one thing which uh, I felt कि यार ऐसा क्या होता होगा कि you can actually motivate people to do whatever you are saying, and they don't follow you just because you are an officer. But in the armed forces it's like they look up to you, so you have to be on your toes. When it comes to knowledge, you need to know everything and a lot about what your unit is doing, what about your work is demanding. And then it gives you the exposure to actually go around in the whole country while you serve. So we nowadays we talk a lot about vacations and all that कुछ terms होते हैं ना इंस्टाग्राम पे जो यूज करते हैं लोग, पूरा दुनिया घूमना है, देश घूमना है. So this is the best place. I think this is the best organization because every 2 3 years you will be in some other place. You don't Many of the places you might not have heard of, and then there you are going, you are fighting the climate over there. People in the armed forces serve from -50 degree to +55 degrees. So India is a country where we have Siachen at -50 and we have Jaisalmer at 55. So, and you are serving everywhere, like that is the range which you have to cover. So that was one thing. Then, as people say, adventure to bahut hai. And adventure is not only physical courage, but also the moral courage, the mental stamina you need to have. And so these were the things which actually motivated me, I would say. Ki the exposure which armed forces give, I think, is a lot, and it builds you. Actually, it shapes you in a way, as I said, where you have to lead, and you have to lead from the front, because the men who are there in your unit, they are multi-talented as well. It's not like you have a force which just they are people who don't know anything, or they have just joined the forces. They are more, so you have to actually command people who are much much senior to you when it comes to service. When it comes to service time, they might be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years into the service. You have just joined today, and on paper you are the senior, so you are the commander. So that is the kind of I would say personality you need to have, always on your toes. कि और ऐसा भी नहीं कि you can outsmart them, because they know what things you can do and what you cannot. So be it the physical aspect, be it the mental aspect, be it the knowledge aspect, everywhere you have to lead from the front. So that actually motivates you. That actually keeps you always in the कि अच्छा करना पड़ेगा तभी यहाँ पे सस्टेन हो सकता है. ऐसा नहीं है कि you just be there, you wear the uniform, you put a photo on Instagram and people will like it. तो ऐसा नहीं चलेगा. So that was the thing which actually kept me going. And as I said कि SSB is something कि जब तक तुम clear नहीं करते, you will want to give it. So that was the main transition, I would say. And as I said, जब form भरा था तब यही सोच के भरा था कि let's try it, because थोड़ा तो background है, पूरा नहीं तो at least 1% पता है ना, because I was in the school. तो starting में वो था. Then as I gave SSBs, तो then it became as I got to know more about the forces, जैसे जैसे knowledge बढ़ता गया, so then I got more motivated to actually go and join.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chinmay. And I think we have much time left, frankly. So what I'll do is I think we would have to definitely have another video. Sorry, it's just that I don't now have a like a public like a paid account. So one of the
Correct.
reasons I cannot extend it. So I think I'll be able to do one more question. We'll stop
Right.
this, start another recording. But yeah, anyways. So so Chinmay, if there's somebody who is maybe let's say in class 12th or maybe class 10th or maybe in their engineering,
Hmm.
and they have no idea what NDA is and what CDS is. uh, I mean, of course everybody knows what the armed forces are. There's air force, there's army, there's navy. But how how would they understand or think about like this is meant for them? Like let's say me, Shubham, in class 10th. I, I, I
Right.
I know there's India, I know there's CDS, I know there's Army, I know there's Navy, I know there's Air Force. But how do I know that this is meant for me in terms of making our, I mean, I'm not talking about our generation, but the next generation, because people are much more aware of, do they really want to do engineering or doctors? कि मतलब actually करना क्या है life में? So
Right,
how I'm sure now you might have much more ideas compared to what you had earlier while you were in class 10th or something.
right, right.
So what would you tell them, or what would be a like a bridge वो
Hmm.
gap भरने के लिए कि this is what it is. So if you fall under this category, or if you've ever thought of something like that, or if this is something that means so much to you, so that.
Right. So I would answer this question completely as per the student's point of view. As you said, ki how to judge if you are made for it or not. So I think the first and foremost part is awareness. I mean, you need to know about the forces more. You need to know about the organization if you want to actually assess if you are made for it or not. So I think first is you should have at least basic knowledge of what the forces do. So, and nowadays on internet, there's so much content. I mean, it's not, as I said, it's not only about the war, but when the war is not happening. So the last war we fought was 1999 Kargil war. So after that, you see the 26 years, we are not at a war. So after that, yes, there were surgical strikes, then there was the Balakot air strikes, but there was not an active war as such, which India or the Indian armed forces fought. So there are many operations, and the operations are always they keep happening. But so you need to know what the armed forces do. And apart from the war, the technological aspect of the armed forces, nowadays the cyber warfare is quite, it's getting into the picture. It was there from a lot of time, but now people are knowing about it. So then technologies like AI, ML, how does armed forces use it? So that part you should know basically I would say an overall picture of what the armed forces do, and that you can take from anywhere, on the internet. Even if you see the Republic Day parade thoroughly, you will know what the armed forces do, because there's a representation of everything. It's not only the parade. After the parade or the march past, after that they also showcase the different skills. So that is one thing, awareness. Secondly, you जैसे वो इकिगाई बुक में लिखा है ना कि what they offer and what you want, है ना? तो उसमें then coming to the next point, if you feel that this is interesting, what they are doing is interesting, then you need to assess yourself. Like, are you made for it in a way that would you be able to actually go and do justice to the organization? Now, when I say doing justice is, as I said, key physical courage, mental courage, and basically, um, you should have that thing in your mind. थोड़ा adventurous है ना, ये होना चाहिए, एक कीड़ा होना चाहिए कि you are okay and excited to go and serve in different parts of the country doing different kind of job. So again, as an officer, let's say you are a technical officer. Okay, you're a technical officer. It's not like you always would be in systems and you would be doing the technical part. You also might have to lead a convoy, let's say. Okay, so convoy, everyone knows what a convoy is. So you might have to be a convoy commander in your initial days. So being a convoy commander, then you will have to take care of the security of the whole convoy. You will be the in charge as maybe a young lieutenant or a captain per se. Okay. So you will have different type of job at different places. So do you have that kind of an adventure in you, or you are okay and you are happy with a desk job where you don't have to do different things? Some people don't like a lot of I would say changes in their life. So someone who is ready for changes, someone who is excited for it, then always so physical fitness is one part of it. Physical fitness, I won't give a huge importance to that, because the armed forces know very well how to keep that, so they will take care of it in the training, so that's not an issue. But apart from that, then if we assess it as per the SSB point of view, the exam point of view, then the qualities which they have, so there are some 15 OLQs which they check, 15 officer-like qualities. If you just go through those qualities and if you feel that, okay, I have most of them and I am okay to use these qualities afterwards. It's not only about having them. One part is having and showing them, and another part is using them actually in your service. So if you feel कि नहीं यार, ये qualities जो अच्छी लग रही है, शायद ये मेरे में है और मुझे मजा आएगा ये करने में, so then I think you can do. So I would as per me, I would consider four of those qualities to be the most important. One is your confidence. when you confidence with communication skills, of course, when you speak with people. If you are a very social person, then forces is a great place for you, because right from being a leader and commander to having social gatherings, all the parties and all, so you will always be with people. You will never have a job in isolation. Like if you are that person who likes to sit at one place in one corner of the room and likes to code for themselves, then it might not be your fascination, I would say. But if you are a very social person, you like to work in a group, so teamwork is very important. So I would say confidence with communication skills. Second is your courage. Now, when I say courage, it's not about diving into the water from a 10-meter height. Of course, that is one part, but more about your mental courage and your moral courage. तो moral courage is basically calling a spade कि ये सही है तो सही है, गलत है तो गलत है. That's about it. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि I mean against not going against the corporate, not saying anything wrong, but corporate में क्या है कि you have to sugarcoat a lot of things, है ना, कि ऐसे बताने का तरीका तुम्हारा अच्छा होना चाहिए. भले ही तुम जो बता रहे हो उसमें ज्यादा दम ना हो, बट यहाँ पे वैसा नहीं है. यहाँ पे द थिंग और द सिचुएशन मैटर्स मोर देन हाउ यू टेल इट. सो द ओनली पार्ट इज कि तुम जब बता रहे हो तो क्लियर होना चाहिए. इट शुड बी लाउड एंड क्लियर एज दे से. बट ऐसा नहीं है कि तुम उसको बहुत अच्छे से बढ़ा चढ़ा के बताओगे तो ही तुम्हारे कम्युनिकेशन अच्छा है. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. सो योर honesty, so that comes under your moral courage. And then one thing is your ability to influence a group. Okay, so as they call in the forces, ki ability to influence in a group. Or again, then I think that's about the leadership part. Ki if you like to lead a group, जहाँ पे there would be, now in the armed forces, people would come from all parts of the country. So can you lead a group which is not having any common thread between them? Most of them have, but there might be cases where there is no common thread between all the people. There's only one common thing that I want to complete this mission. और जब तुम जंगल में होते हो, when there are terrorists around you and you are maybe surrounded or you want to surround them, तब वहां पे तुम्हारे इमोशंस और देशभक्ति उतनी काम में नहीं आती जितना तुम्हारा ट्रेनिंग और मेंटल टफनेस काम आती है. सो इन दैट सिचुएशन, कैन यू मोटिवेट दोज मैन, कैन यू टेक देम अहेड इन अ वे कि दे विल लिसन टू यू, नॉट बिकॉज यू आर एन ऑफिसर बट बिकॉज यू आर गुड एट वॉट यू आर डूइंग. सो इफ यू हैव दैट पार्ट कि मैं जो भी करूंगा मुझे अच्छा करना है, दैट इज द ओनली मोटिवेशन यू शुड हैव when you are in the forces or you might want to join the forces. So it might be a simple task like making as I said कि एक शेड्यूल बनाना है तुम्हें तुम्हें दिन का. ये काम भी हो सकता है, या फिर ऑपरेशन में जाके लीड करना है. यू हैव टू टेक डाउन द टेररिस्ट, यू हैव टू क्लीन द सैनिटाइज द एरिया. ये भी हो सकता है. सो इट कैन बी एज सेंसिटिव एज दैट. So if you are ready for those kind of jobs and still you feel कि you will be able to do justice to it, then I think forces is for you. And the last part, and I think the most important one, is what is above your neck, है ना. तो basically your brain. तो तुम कितना logically you can justify or you can think logically in a situation. What it doesn't matter कि कितनी खराब situation है. If you are that person who thinks कि यार मैं वैसे तो मेरे में दिमाग है, लेकिन जब सिचुएशन खराब हो जाती है तो पता नहीं क्या हो जाता है सो वो नहीं होना चाहिए. यू शुड नॉट बी इन दैट आई वुड से फेरी टेल लैंड की जहां पर सिचुएशन अच्छी होगी तभी तुम्हारा दिमाग चलेगा. इट्स नॉट विल बी लाइक दैट. सो एज आई सेड, वॉर हो सकता है, ऑपरेशंस हो सकते हैं, या सिंपल टास्क हो सकता है. इफ यू फील कि यू आर लॉजिकली गुड, मतलब बहुत आइंस्टाइन भी नहीं होना चाहिए, बट इफ यू आर गुड इनफ कि आपका लॉजिकल रीजनिंग ठीक है, you are able to logically talk about situations, you are able to justify whatever you are doing, your actions, if you are able to justify, so I think then you are good to give the SSB at least. So I think these four things, mainly your confidence, your communication, your logical reasoning part, and as I said, your teamwork. तो ये चार चीज अगर तुम्हारी अच्छी है, तो आई थिंक यू कैन थिंक ऑफ leading a group of men who are coming from different background, and you have to create a common sense of bonding between them.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chinmay. And
Yeah,
we exactly have just 1 minute left. So I'm gonna stop this recording and we're gonna meet again in another one. Thanks.
sure. Yeah.